Well, thank you very much, Deanna. And thanks for the invitation, both you and Colin. Thanks for letting me launch that tree. It's always been a sentimental favorite, so obviously it's important to launch the new book here. And thank you all for coming out tonight. It's just looking around the room. I don't know, it's hard for my brain to process this. There's like different stages of my adult life. Everywhere I look, there's just so my brain's trying to put it like it's like a dream, you know. You wake up too early or too quick, trying to sort it all out. So yes, and thanks to Brick. Obviously, they've been a tremendous team to work with throughout this whole process. And I think I should just take a minute I've obviously thanked them in the book, but I think I should be doing this personally too. So I want to thank Sue Chenette, who was the poetry editor, Elena Muntz, who was the copy editor, as well as Jessica Moore and David Seymour, who were the proofreaders for both the French and English text, respectively, and to Mariska Friesen, who did the book design, which I'm more than pleased with. So yeah, it was a great experience, and I can't thank them enough. My thanks as well to Black Squirrel. I certainly joined Deanna in thanking them for providing us with this venue. It's a great venue. So I'm just going to read tonight. I'm not going to try to introduce the book in general or to introduce the poems specifically. I think the poems, I think they speak for themselves, and in fact, I think it will just distract from the reading if I try to set them up for you. So the book, it starts with a dedication. For Boone, who fell from a great height, a long way down, through my many hands and changing hearts, and disappeared, disparu. Theme and vexations. Aging and impecunious, the velvet gentleman replays the melody of too few afternoons spent sailing toy boats on the pond of the Luxembourg Gardens with Valadon, when she was Bicky, a wave spilling through him, chromatic and unrelieved, a theme he nurtured, charmed by her tender little belch, but vexed by the poses, painters, and ateliers, her comely figure a model, inspiring art in others, but leaving him impossibly alone, exposed without a tonal center before the fanfare for the big fat king of the monkeys and the distillation of his thirst for shirt collars, handkerchiefs, and umbrellas, when all he had of his own was furniture music and an impulse to abstraction that he wrote into a song fragment on Easter Sunday, a one-page manuscript in pen and ink, adorned with an authentic portrait and titled Denying Adieu. Bonjour, Becky. Bonjour. Prélude de la porte héroïque du ciel. A heavy-set man, middle-aged, standing on the pages of a hardcover book open to the middle, floats above the Masonic rooftops and smokeless chimneys of the nearby academy. His hands are folded together at the second button of a well-tailored suit jacket. His pressed pants flutter in the gentle uplift of morning air, and a brown derby hat, neatly brushed, rests on a head of finely combed hair. He looks as if he could be on his way to lecture a class in aerodynamics or geophysics, but these are subjects he knows nothing about. The truth is, he has just read that the last mating pair of a variety of orange weavers, songbirds with brilliant trilling voices, has died in captivity, and he is contemplating grief in the absence of song. Leaving Eden. Can an agonized expression really conceal pleasure? Or is the pain of loving a constant pushing in or away, bruising the body like fallen fruit, our seed exposed to soil? Are the lyrics, "She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah," tattooed above her breasts intended to convey passion or hostility? How did she learn to be so naked in the first place? Is most sex funny? Henri Bergson funny, the body failing to perform up to the standards of the spirit, the material world resisting the impulses of the will? Is her tenderness sincere or rehearsed? Is it just ourselves we see in those we think we love? Coupled with me, does she feel godlike and helpless all at once? Or just cacophonous and unclosed, ashamed of exile in a world with edges, and oh, so tired of my touch? Vieux sequin et vieille cuirasse. From a distance, the two white-haired gentlemen in the park appear to be waltzing with full-figured women, but closer you observe they are engaged in a game of chess. Played with human-sized pieces, they slide with little effort across a checkered grid painted onto a portion of the paved area surrounding a magnificent fountain. Antoine is 88, and Marcel is 91. The two friends have met at chess every Tuesday and Thursday afternoon for 20 years. Antoine has never won a game. He's come close, and a number of games have ended in stalemate, but he has never managed to beat Marcel. This has attracted the wonder of spectators, mostly widowed colleagues and acquaintances who have come to attach a millennial significance to the possibility of an Antoine victory. Today, a gull flying overhead splatters the black crown of Antoine's queen, leaving her veiled and saintly looking. Expectations of the onlookers immediately run high in favor of Antoine. And even Antoine is so enthralled by the transformation that he refuses to move the ebony virgin from her newly hallowed position, with the result that she and the game are soon lost to the invincible Marcel. Nouvelle pièce froide. Every year on her birthday, she captured a rush of wind in a jar and labeled the jar with the date. It was a birthday tradition she had begun as a child, a precocious 3-year-old, intrigued by the idea that something invisible could be heard and deeply felt. Shelved neatly in chronological order, the jars now numbered 75. And as her birthday was in late December, it was certain that if the winds were ever released, they would blow strong and polar cold. Each jar displayed a fall of snow, some nearing blizzard conditions, individual flakes suspended in midair, their crystalline structures unmatchable in radiance. One jar, by far her favorite, contained a honeybee, a victim of miscalculation having awakened prematurely from its winter sleep. Its silvery wings were frozen in motion, inseparable from the glitter, while stark against the blustery pale, its black and yellow stripes buzzed electric. Croquis et égasserie d'un gros bonhomme en bois. Paint it and they will come, the real estate agent suggests. And buy, I ask. Okay, bye for now, she says, hanging up. Don't Merde, I sputter, staring dumbfounded at the phone before slamming it back in its cradle. Can't we just bake bread? I yell at my wife, soon-to-be ex, who looks up, bemused and frightened, the dinner plate in her hand suspended above a half-packed moving box. Isn't that what couples like us do to hide the ghost rectangles and squares haunting the walls? Let the new owners... Assez, she interrupts, tears swelling in her eyes as she screams. Look at the way we loved, sniffing each other for the best before date. And that, mon ami, is the straw that breaks the camel's balls. My mind now racing even faster, averaging the legal fees by the number of rooms that will never echo with the sound of front steps being shoveled in winter or lawns being raked in summer, more like unfamiliar dogs now that you mentioned, tracking God knows through each open house, be it never so humbled, and the agent channeling Doris Day with her wholesome sweet looks and good housekeeping smile of approval, while none of us realizes that every fucking prospect is tanking because of the pristine primaries and untarnished domesticity of the backyard swing set and jungle gym, overlooked by our hurry-up happy movers, but seen as a harbinger of heartbreak by the starter home set, who would prefer a basement of gators to a single snake in the garden. Gymnopédie numéro 1. The night I came to meet you at the Gare Montparnasse, all the trains were running late and the platforms were filled with tired, impatient travelers. We stopped for a minute outside the station to catch our breath and to listen to a busker's solo violin, and when I reached down to pick up your valise, it was gone. The only clothes you had for the weekend were those you were wearing, and they hung in the bedroom closet until Monday morning when we woke to the clock radio playing a piano composition, a piece you once admired, that you had danced to at the Palais Garnier. But that morning the music made you sad, and you dressed in the half-light, leaving your nakedness on the hanger, where over the next week it faded away, except for the impression of a row of buttons down your back. Le porteur de la grosse pierre. It wasn't the year he lived under a large rock, nor was it the year he spent in a tree. No, it was just after I returned to Paris from Tahiti, my study of the native dances of French Polynesia finally complete. I went to visit him in the hospital where he was being treated, and we talked together all afternoon in the garden sitting area. The Tahitian women, I told him, have beautifully long limbs and dance topless beneath the palm trees in bare feet. In bare feet, he responded somberly. How grisly. Yes, très drôle he was, a master of the bon mot. He died later that night, the cause of death revealed only to his immediate family, none of whom would speak to me. And there was no funeral. Did I ever mention that he once walked across Paris in a rare snowstorm to tell me that every word was once a poem? He did, yes. Stood frozen in the doorway, a snowman. Imagine the inspiration for abominable, he mused. Wouldn't even come in out of the cold. My only visitor all winter. Gymnopédie numéro 2. The audition for the season's Sarabande was your last. The music hung from your body like a borrowed winter coat, heavy and oversized. Then the mishap of miscue, misstep, and tumble. And afterwards, walking all the way to our old address in Montparnasse to find the building semi-demolished, the shell of bricks and mortar hammered away, exposing a skeletal framework that your eyes climbed floor by floor to the top apartment. Wondering if it had been emptied thoroughly, the drawers and closets checked for anything overlooked or forgotten, something possibly invisible. Cinq grimaces pour le songe d'une nuit d'été. Cloudy with intermittent showers. That was the weather forecast in Calais the morning he waded into the channel to begin his solo swim around the world, an unprecedented feat. Not that that entered his thoughts, his mind a storm of words he remembered, spit wet on her lips, their fury locked in the memory of his fingertips and transcribed into the music he composed after she'd gone. The melodies screaming from his hands, chased by village boys shouting, "Shoo, shoo, the ugly man," as they threw rocks and bottles, his appearance having become frightful from the absinthe, his reflection in the shop windows either too sharp or too flat. He couldn't decide which, wondering instead if breathing under water is intuitive, if salvation is a planet orbiting a star for billions of years without ever altering its course, if the core of roiling magma under the Earth's crust is a new world in the making as the universe evolves, changing constantly like the weather that day in Calais, cloudy with intermittent showers. The meteorologist had promised the next day would be clear and sunny, but I mean, honestly, who among us really believes in promises anymore? So I'm going to finish with one final poem. And I thank you again for coming out tonight. Thanks to Brick. Thanks to Tree, Black Squirrel. Better find the right one. Here we go. Gymnopédie numéro 3. Unpacking the bed linens, we find an envelope containing 12 glass buttons, mementos of a dance costume long ago misplaced. Giselle's? Maybe, you think, placing the buttons on the windowsill where they refract the winter light into tiny spectra on the bedroom walls. You smile to think how seldom you bother with fasteners anymore, how you let drape your clothes over the life growing within you as each day your once slender torso expands in rhythm with the arrival of spring, fairy godmother of the seasons. That's it, of course. Cinderella's ball gown. Scenes of a rehearsal step through your mind. Directors huddled in the footlights, passionate in debate. The gown needs more sparkle. She must be radiant. You heard the magic in their enthusiasm and thrilled to the prospect of a new gown. But the costume designer heard only dissatisfaction and quit, disappeared from dance altogether. Some said to pursue her pastime as a small-scale producer of gourds, melons, and squashes. Others said she became a beekeeper, keeper of bees. Thank you.